Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
It's the National Park of Speed, and for a lot of iRacing drivers, this is the one place where you want to do well. It's 4 miles through the Kettle Moraine Valley, and it is an absolute blast, whether you're in any kind of spec car. If it's a spec racer Ford, if it's a spec Miata, or even the 992.2 spec. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're watching us around the world here on the Kellymoss YouTube channel. My name is Jeremy Scott. I am pleased to be joined with booth partners who I've had across the years, and now we all get to work together. It's Loni Unser and Ashley Freiberg. You know them as the teammates who run in the SRO GT4. Ahmet is back in the studio making us sound oh so good. Loni, we've done this before, so you and I kind of know each other's pace, and I'm really excited for this.
We have. I am so excited to watch this race. I think it's going to be good, clean, hard racing.
And of course, Ashley, I've known you since you basically come up through the open wheel ranks, so it's great to have you back in the booth with me. But this is a track and a combination which you are very familiar with.
Yeah, Road America is such a blast. It has a really fun mix of corners. You can see them coming down into Canada Corner, which is a big, heavy brake zone. Lots of these corners require lots of exit speed, and they're heading up through the Billy Mitchell turn, which is super high speed. So it's a really challenging track. It's also quite technical, so I think it'll be some fun racing today.
And of course, we want to thank PenFed for joining us on board this race. It's a special race, and it's going to be a lot of fun because we got a lot of great drivers here in this event. Of course, you see the duo of Aaron Johnson and Carol Stout. I've got to say this, Loni, you've competed actually in this series at least once, but you know the dominance of Aaron Johnson, and to see somebody that may be able to actually go toe-to-toe with him, it's a little bit refreshing.
Aaron was absolutely dominant this winter during this season, and it was phenomenal to watch. He was really untouchable, so I'm excited to see if anybody can challenge him today.
Of course, Ashley, you know, Stout with basically an untouchable record right now in the 992.2 Pro in the Porsche Sprint Challenge. He's basically matching what we've seen over the past couple of years out of Kellymoss drivers in that series.
Yeah, for sure, putting the Kellymoss name right to the top of the podium, as they should be. I mean, it's super cool to see all these really talented drivers continuously coming up through Kellymoss. I know Aaron has been working super hard in Carrera Cup, so I know Stout is right up there, and Riley Dickinson too. I mean, he's going to be in the field putting up a fight as well, so I think it's going to be a ton of fun to watch.
I saw Riley was actually on the entry list for this race, and I think I should make a shirt next time I'm at one of your guys' races that said, "Where's Riley?" Just because that would be so fun. But let's see what Carl and Aaron can do here as they get through their warm-up laps. And, of course, this is a very tough and treacherous area because you're really high speed coming out through the kink, and that sets you up for Canada Corner. See a little bit of dust picked up there. No word on who that was. And, of course, we got at least one driver already in the pits. Very healthy field, Lonnie, as we're seeing double digits. We'll get a full number here once they come across the line, but hot laps are starting right now. You see Tyler Carr going purple in the last three sectors. See what he can do in the fifth.
I am really excited to see the mix of different drivers we have here today. So we have some pro drivers like Aaron Johnson and Riley Dickinson. We also have some team members of Kellymoss Racing. So we've got some of our engineers here today, and we also have fans of the sport who wanted to join us in this race. So I'm excited to see how it all shakes out.
Of course, fast times coming in right now. Joan Song, fastest, no surprise here, to 2:05.879, 6:198 out of Stout. Now, fastest in the club ranks, that is Nicholas DePaula. Matt, if we have that graphic to kind of show the different colors that you'll see on the left-hand side of your screen with the numbers. The red is going to be the pro drivers. The blue, those are going to be your club drivers, and the black, those are going to be the teams. I believe the grays are going to be the VIPs as well. So actually a lot of interesting mix. Unfortunately, Blake McGovern not going to have anybody to play with in that VIP section, but we know how quick that he is.
Yeah, also I really want to point out we have a few drivers that are from other parts of the world. So we have a driver here from Belgium, we have two from Canada, and two from Brazil. So it's really cool to see not just people within the US, but people all throughout the world joining us here for this race.
A little bit of dust picked up. Of course, if you are a longtime viewer of the series, you know this is one of those drivers who was quick all season long. Carl Lemkool in the team ranks as he makes his way around for the lap. I did talk to a couple of drivers before today also. Anthony Castillo, he said, you know what, I was quick in practice. However, I got Joseph Holman to worry about as well. So Castillo and Holman, we saw those two go toe-to-toe. As Stout right now going purple for 3 out of the past 5 sections. Let's see what he can do. He's got to beat a 5.879 for his fastest lap as you're on board with Lemkool. Here they come, the power duo 1 and 2 right now as John Song goes even better. 2:05.735, but Lonnie, a 5.785 out of Stout.
That is impressive. Just for practice, I mean, right now, their entire goal is to get the car just the way they want it, to make sure that they kind of hit their marks and everything's ready to go for the race. So my prediction is we will see even faster laps come qualifying.
You got more than 10 minutes left in this qualifying session, actually. We'll have a little bit of, I'm sure it's going to work out. We're going to have qualifying. We'll have the warm-up session, and then we will go race as well here around Road America. There's your fastest in the club. It's Nicholas DePaula, 2:06.514, and here comes the lead duo. There's DePaula once again going into turn number 5. A little interesting arc right there, Ashley, but with it being such a slow corner going downhill, you really need to open up that corner a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, turn 5 is definitely one of the slowest corners on this track, and then it kind of bumps you up here. You can see them going down into turn 8 here. Another big brake zone, a pretty slow corner. But then it shoots you into the carousel, which is a pretty high-speed corner. However, once again, very technical. You want to make sure your car placement is on the lower side where a lot of the traction is. You saw him get a little bit wide on that exit or on that entry there. And what's cool about iRacing is that it's actually really similar to track conditions in real life. So as you're watching this qualifying session, something to think about as well is the tires. They take a little bit of time to get warmed up, to get their pressures up, and that's why you see a lot of these lap times coming in as they're starting to run more laps.
See what DePaul can do, as he is a couple tenths of a second faster than the couple other cars there. As we see the 23 of Tyler Carr, second quickest in the club class, goes to the top. 205.874 out of the number 23. And now we're starting to see some of the lap times fall a little bit. Ted Burns, ninth quickest overall, your fastest in the team. But he's really got to watch out, Lonnie, is Carl Lemkool in the 95, breathing down his neck, 200ths of a second separate him. And think about that close of a margin here at Road America is astounding.
Yeah, what I love about Ted and Carl is we get to work with them a lot of our time at Kellymoss. They are both engineers, and I know that they both run on iRacing quite frequently together, and they're always sharing data, running on, like I said, the sim together. And so it's really cool to see them run super close, because that's kind of what they do. So I think we're going to see a lot of that.
It looks like Ted Burns actually just laid down a lap that was a little bit quicker, putting the pressure on Carl there. So it looks like he bumped up about 4/10 ahead of Carl there. But again, 4/10 around a 4.5 mile track is, I mean, we're talking faster than a blink of an eye per corner. So super tight between those two drivers.
And that's what I want to talk about too, Lonnie. Ashley. Most tracks, you think, oh, 4/10 of a second, that's fine and whatnot. But here at Road America, that's like almost a tenth of a second anywhere else across the schedule.
No, totally. That's something I think a lot of us drivers get out of sight at times, because we always want to be at the top of the time charts, right? But when you look at these tracks that have 15 corners and you're off by 4/10, I mean, how fast is a blink of an eye, legitimately? Maybe a tenth of a second. So, it really is, you're coming down to absolute inches on every corner that you go through on these racetracks, including on iRacing. So that's what's cool about this.
I just want to point out.
Go ahead.
Oh, I just want to point out that the top three drivers are only separated by 0.3 of a second. So it's pretty cool to see, again, just talking about those milliseconds here and how much of a difference they'll make. And I think that means that we're going to see some close racing.
We really will, because now Aaron Johnson won't run away with the field, and we'll have to find something else. But really, there's a lot of great cars, a lot of great drivers here. As you see Johnson trying to break Carl's draft right there, 200ths of a second separate both of those drivers going into turn number 5. But ladies, I'm going to pose this question to you, because you have worked with some of these drivers. What is it about drivers like Carl, like Aaron, that for some reason they can get into a car and just automatically take to a track like duck to water?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really just comes down to having that seat time. I know both of them spend quite a bit of time on a simulator, and to be honest, this is fantastic training when it comes to driving anything, really. So, I mean, you see these two going at it here, and I'm sure that, they're probably getting on the sim, possibly even together, running a bunch of sessions in a lot of different cars and a lot of different track conditions you can dial in. But I mean, that's really what it takes, is first of all, as well, having that hunger and having that desire to put in the work and to try to understand each car. But then also, if you can put in the hours, especially on a simulator, or especially in real life, is the ultimate way to do it. That's how you can get really fast and really adaptable.
There's Victoria telling us that Carl's coach is actually our pole sitter right now with 205.534. Both of their tires are a little bit slower, but that's okay. Slow it down a little bit, get those tires up to temperature as they work their way all the way around. We're just about less than 5 minutes, actually more than 5 minutes left to go in this session. John Song, you're fastest with the pros. Carr, you're fastest with the club. Carr still, his time of a 2:05.874 is standing pretty well. McGovern fastest for the VIPs with a 2:06.623. And Lonnie Ted Burns with a 2:06.674 as qualifying kind of winding down here.
Blistering fast times. I think if you were to look all across iRacing, these are some of the best drivers out there. So it's really cool to see them and how they're driving. You can see really they're using every single inch of this racetrack like that, using all of their exits, all of their entries, and all of the curbs. And man, Road America, what a great place to do it at.
There he sees the colors we'll be looking for in pro, club member, and team. 20 cars entered into today's race, and two really haven't had times to do time. Kelly Hillstead and Vishal and Kana waiting for them to log some times. You see on the left-hand side of your screen. Freeman, your last driver to log a proper time at 21.968. And of course, Ashley, in qualifying, you really got to make sure to have that that edge, but not get anything as a 0x because your time's basically wiped away after that.
Yeah, that sounds like an iRacing rule that I'm not totally sure of, but I mean, qualifying in any situation is so important because, I mean, if you look at some of these classes, they're all kind of intertwined with each other, and like between Ted and Carl, they have a out-of-class car in between, so even though those two are going to be battling for the same class, you have to make sure that you have that position to be able to battle with the right people at the right time. So qualifying is super important to make sure you're getting in your lap and making sure it counts.
See Colby Isabel. He's the driver between Ted and Carl Lemkool. They work their way out of turn number 14. Isabel with the fastest time of 2:06.829, good enough for 8th fastest overall, 4th fastest in class. Let's see what he can do in the 2:57 coming up through the hill, across the line. That's going to be most likely quicker than what he had last time. Of course, now that I'm watching the time, it doesn't come through, but either way, here comes Carl Lemkool coming through the carousel. And looks like a couple drivers deciding to call time there. There's the 42 of Anthony Castillo. Talked about him and how his, I wouldn't say arch rival, Lonnie, is and Joseph Holman sitting there, but it's going to be a tough road to hoe for some of these regulars in the club class.
It's always competitive here at the Kellymoss Club events. I will tell you that for sure, firsthand experience. But that's what we want to see. That's what makes really good racing. And I think that's why a lot of these drivers keep coming back time and time again, because of how good the quality of the racing is here.
Let's see what the club member can do here. Blake McGovern, third quickest in pro, so we do have 3 classes here. McGovern's not going to show as a red ladies, but we have to go by the pro, the B. Of course, Blake always having to be different, and we all know his coach very well, the great Dan Clark, and we all know how different he can be, but either way, here comes your leading pair with John Song following Stout. Let's see what Carl can do. 0.2 of a second separate these two. And of course, also look, you got Tyler Carr leading this train up the front straightaway. His fastest time, 2:05.874. Last time by 8:77 was his time, and no improvement out of these 3 as they work their way into turn number 1. And with this being a sprint race, Ashley, you got to have the mindset of, yeah, you know, you got to get the fastest time, but at the same time, you got to kind of treat qualifying like practice.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you want to treat every session kind of the same way mentally. You want to maximize what you can out of everything. But I mean, to your point though, a little bit, it is a sprint race. So you don't have a lot of time to make positions when it comes to the race. So qualifying, oh wow, it's pretty interesting to actually look at their line entering turn 5 there. You can't quite do that in real life, but yeah, you have to get that car position in qualifying. And speaking of that, looks like Carl is now right up alongside Ted Burns there after that last lap. So pretty cool to see, and those two will be pretty close together there possibly for the start unless one of them can lay down another flyer.
I got time. Those who haven't crossed the line. Let's see here. Yeah, those who have crossed the line now. So we're looking at final laps for these drivers as you look out of the back of Ted Burns as he tries to keep DePaula, and DePaula goes off there in turn number 6. It's kind of an interesting place, way that he went off, but either way, it's kind of interesting. You see Duraco with a slowdown penalty, 18 cars still having time, so we'll see what the final two can do here in this race session as the checker flag will fall in about a minute's time. Going to have a couple blinkers as well, but either way, John Song and Stout showing the class of the field, but I think Tyler Carr might be able to give some of these guys a run for their money down the straightaway. And PenFed is proud to support the drive behind this event, helping racers, fans, and members move forward towards their goals on track and in life, as some of these drivers going for the final laps. And Lonnie, if you can believe this, John Song goes even faster, about a half second faster than the student, 2:05.067.
Wow, that is a blistering lap at a 2:05.067. I mean, that's some quality driving there. And you know what's interesting? I'm seeing that not many people are going all that quicker, and the tire model in iRacing is honestly pretty good. So at this point of qualifying, their tires are getting more worn. So I think that's why you're seeing more people run as pairs so they can practice that race pace.
Couple drivers taking a wheel off right there. Tyler Carr still on the course, and I think he's going to call a session indeed. His checker flag is out for this qualifying session, and once again, it's the Aaron Johnsong show, but I have a feeling that that's not going to be the case, as it looks like he's got some tough competition within that top 4. We'll go through the grade a little bit later on, but we have got a little bit of action here with the warm-up in just a little bit of time, as you see a couple cars still out there on their qualifying laps, and these won't count as some of them have decided to just use whatever time's left. No shock here. It's Lem, Cool, and Burns.
I just noticed that Carl laid down a blistering lap there and jumped way up on the timesheets with a 2:06.3 right there at the last second there. So even though the tires wear on iRacing, I still think that there is like potential specifically on sim racing to continue to find a little bit more time the more you kind of get a feel and a handle of the car.
And of course, this is basically, from what I've heard from some drivers, this car it feels like the real life 992.2. Can you ladies confirm that that's the case?
I know I can speak to the first generation. I haven't jumped into this car yet, but I can definitely say that with the first generation car, it was pretty similar. The only difference is that it didn't have the ABS system on it. So now that it does in the 0.2 car, I'm sure that it's, you know, pretty rock solid and pretty spot on.
Yeah, I wish I could bring that comparison from the sim to real life, but what I do know is that generally iRacing does a really good job of making the cars feel pretty darn accurate in the sim, and it's such a valuable tool as a driver to be able to get on the sim and do a bunch of laps, because it's great practice for real life and it's a lot less expensive.
There we go. That's the answer we're looking for. A lot less expensive. So these drivers don't have to burn up fuel, they don't have to burn up tires, and looks like Kelly Hillstead, who has not logged a time properly, limping over to the pits, the number 44. That's actually quite a nice paint scheme there on that number 44. So we'll get everybody into the pits as we're waiting on Pavan ready to hop on to pit road or into the paddock, and we'll get this warm-up session started. If you've never been to Road America, make it one of your top 5 tracks to get to, because it is such a great atmosphere. And I know Lonnie and Ashley, you both have been there probably as much, if not more, than I have. So we can all attest to it's not just a race when it comes to Road America, it's the whole area.
No, for sure. I love Elkhart Lake. It's such a cozy and fun town, especially during the summer. There's a lot of activity going on, and I feel like the weather is always beautiful. It's so green there, and it's just good vibes, good chill vibes. So I always love going to Road America. I can't wait to go this year.
It's one of my favorite tracks on the entire calendar. The racetrack itself is high speed, high risk, high commitment. And I think as a driver, honestly, that's what a lot of us are looking for. It's one of the classic racetracks in North America. And it's, like you said, Jeremy, it's an absolute bucket list track that you must go visit.
And of course, also what I like about it is, yeah, you have everything to go on around there too. But if you get a chance, take a drive around both of the old circuits that are there, right there in Elkhart Lake and just outside of there. Because Ashley, as you know, that's such a beautiful, it's a beautiful area. And I can remember the first time that I went there was the Champ Car ALMS combined weekend. I just, you come upon it and you just look over and you just already see the uphill to get up to the pit straight, and it's like, you see it on TV all this time. It's like you actually see how high the elevation is.
Yeah, there is quite a bit of elevation at this track, and like you said, you don't really realize it until you're there in real life. And yeah, it's just the facility itself is just a dream, honestly. It's so cool, like for fans too, to go out there and camp, and like you could be in the woods and have your outdoor experience, and then walk outside your tent or your camper, and you're at the track, and you get to see really cool corners, whether it's a slower speed corner with a lot of action like turn 5, or if you're watching over by the carousel. So it's a great vibe all the way around.
And of course, Lonnie, they've made it more accessible to fans, adding different trails and kind of adding little scenic areas as well. I can remember the first time I was there that little path there between 11 to 12, that wasn't even there. If you needed to go work there, you had to park at 12 and hike up to 11B. But, that is an absolutely fantastic addition. And Mike Kitchener and the entire crew at Road America doing a great job to just improve fan amenities.
Absolutely. I think it's so important to have a racetrack that is easy for family members to go watch. It's something that's important. And there's some really, really good viewing spots at Road America. So that's another reason to go visit the track, is so you can bring your whole family and enjoy race cars, enjoy the beautiful weather that typically happens in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. So it's just a must visit.
Now we're doing warm up. One of the things I want to talk about is the fact that this year, both of you are racing an SRO GT4 America, sharing a car. It's Ashley, you have experience with it, but Lonnie, I know you've raced Spec Miata. You haven't done too much in terms of racing with a co-driver. So let's start with your thoughts on what it's like sharing a car with somebody in a competitive situation.
Absolutely. I was actually lucky enough to spend quite a few years racing in the World Racing League alongside some teammates, but I just feel so lucky this year to get to share the car with Ashley. She has been the most incredible co-driver, and what's really cool is we've got such a great form of communication, so we are able to talk about anything and everything, and I think that's a really key factor of having a successful endurance car, because if we come up against problems, we are not afraid to talk about it immediately. For example, with our driver changes, we after every single one or practices that we do, after every single practice we do, we sit down and we talk about it. What went right, what went wrong, and we're not afraid to say what went wrong. And I think that's really key because both of us really want success, and we want to have success for Kellymoss, for our partners, PenFed, Speedway Motors, all of them, Mobile One. And so we get to the track and we get down to business, but we also have a lot of fun doing it.
And Ashley, that's that's something that you have somebody who's a good friend as well that you're sharing a seat with. So like you said, like Loni said, the communication, that's got to really help.
Oh, it's crucial to being good teammates. I was so excited at just the thought of working with Lonnie this year because we've been working together and we've been friends for so long. And I know her work ethic and I know her communication style and just her mindset on everything. We've always been very similar. So I knew that we'd be a really great pairing, and it's proven to be that way so far. And I know we're getting closer and closer to getting our first podium together. So I'm excited.
With that in mind, let's take a look at the starting grid on the pole. No surprise here in John's song with the 205.066. Carl Stout will be alongside in the number 43. Then it moves to row 2 with Tyler Carr and Nicholas DePaula. Those two are your fastest in the club category. See, Blake McGovern finally you're able to get that team the team designation, so he'll be on the pro team. Ted Burns, your fastest for the team in the number 81 alongside. Carl Lemkool not too far away alongside Joseph Holman, who comes from the third spot, but still has a little bit of gap there between the top two in the club ranks. Cody Isabel and Anthony Castillo make up row 5. Then it's Arba, Jay McCullough, Neto, and Sean Flatman in row 6 as the cars get on to the course for their warm-up lap. For drivers who have taken times, we have Matt DeRocco and Jacob Harder make up row 7. Row 8, Dominic Sicoli and Joshua Draper, Pavin Reddy and Jaden Freeman, Kelly Hillstead and Joao Mario Soros and Vishal Anika. The last three, I should say, did not take times. We're just about set to come in, so ladies, I mean, at any point you see something, definitely tell me what you're thinking, but we're going to go ahead and get through with this start. Of course, the pace car will pull off at some point, and then we will get this 30-minute race underway. 30 minutes at Road America seems like about a 15-20-minute race anywhere else. It's 4 miles of nothing but pure exhilaration as the Porsche pace car takes the hard right into pit road. It's John Song and Stout in row 1. DePaula and Carr make up row 2. McGovern and Burns in row 3. They take the climb up the hill. They'll see Barney in just a little bit, and they'll be up at the last minute. Eyes on the starter. Green flag is out, and already you see John Song get a good start up front. He's got Stout behind him going into turn number 1. It's a battle for his 3rd overall, leading in the club with Tyler Carr and DePaula. 3 wide, though, at the back, and Burns thinks better of it, but he's going to get up 1 spot. He's going to drop McGovern right there, and so far so good through turn 1 as everybody's starting to get single file, but getting a little racy into turn number 3.
We see Carr kind of continuously looking up the inside of Stout there, so good job on Stout for staying pretty aware of his surroundings and giving that racing room. Looks like it's getting pretty tight here at the back as well.
Looks like Joseph Holman is going for the pass on the outside of turn 5 and car 24 on the inside, making it work. That is impressive for the car number 24.
You already see that the 81 of Ted Burns already with some front end damage as he starts to fall back in line. Burns and Lemkool sitting back there for the lead in the team class. And you see Burns get out in front, but he's still got to hold off the 94 of Holman. These two, although they've been out of class, have been adversaries all throughout the Winter Series. And looking to the inside is Anthony Castillo through turn number 8. He's going to think better of it, but for the most part, Ashley, it's going to be single files. These drivers get feeling. It looks like a Soros gets off course in turn number 8, and he's got a little bit of damage. And honestly, I'm a little surprised that we're seeing this much damage early on as we take a look at the replay.
Yeah, let's see what happens here as he's driving down into turn 8. Big brake zone corner, downhill as well. Looks like he was just a little late on the brakes, a little too much entry speed, and actually kind of hold it together pretty nicely through that corner there, considering all that took place. But yeah, I mean, really tight start there, a lot of side-by-side action, 3 wide at one point. I'm loving seeing this.
This is some close racing. Look at this first lap. What an incredible first lap. To get through that cleanly with that many cars is an impressive job by all of the drivers.
Do a little house cleaning here. You see the mechanical black flag next to Hillstead's name. He'll have to come in and pit here shortly. Your highest climber so far this race. Cody Isabel up 4 spots from his grid spot. Right now, 3, 4, and 5. Those are all club members. You see the inside pass. Flatman trying to go around the inside of Castillo. He leaves that door open. He's going to get that spot. That is not only for overall position, but that is for the club class. You can kind of tell by the eyebrow strip right there, the blue, which shows the club class as our drone flies as close as they can. 30 minutes is going to be enough for something to happen, but right now you're seeing a gap between first and second overall. Then you've got a gap right there between Carr and DePaula as you see Stout going to the inside of Johnson through turn number 5. Oh, a little bit of contact there. And Ashley, that's easier said than done to try and make a pass on the exit of 5.
Yeah, that was pretty spicy there, but it is smart to stay inside up into 6 because now you have this position, but oh, that is a fast corner to stay on the outside. He's dropping wheels on the outside. Man, these two guys are really going at it.
To have that many corners go side by 2 drivers, Tyler Carr and Nicholas DePaula, I mean, kudos to them because that is respectful racing right there. When you can go side by side with another driver for that many corners, that's pretty impressive.
And you make a good point too, Lonnie, because chances are this might be the first time they've raced with one another, but they could have raced with each other down the line either way. And it's very rare that you see this much side-by-side action here at Road America, but this is a spec car, so it all goes down to driver talent. You're watching Joseph Holman sitting there in 8th. He's sandwiched by Burns up in front and Lemcool right behind him, so you got 81 and 95. And Ashley, you've done some spotting, so you understand what it's like to try and differentiate some of these cars. As you see the 24 McGovern going off course, and he's going to lose several spots because he's going to lose the draft. So I would imagine behind the wheel also, you know that there's 2 drivers with similar paint schemes. So it's like, okay, how do I defend here?
I mean, ultimately, you just want to stay ahead of everybody, no matter what class that they're in. Kind of in the moment, you also want to make sure you're giving racing room to everybody as well. So keeping an eye in those mirrors, double checking before you turn in down to that apex, because if someone has a nose in there, no matter what color paint scheme they have, you don't want to take both of each other out of the race. So giving each other racing room, it seems like everyone's doing a really great job with that, staying super aware. Then once things kind of settle down a little bit after these first few laps, then you start to really, be a little more aware of who's who. Good pass there by the car number 24. I mean, man, these guys are racing pretty hard, and now we're a couple laps into this race. Turn 6, sketchy corner there. It looks like he got a little bit checked up under braking, but there's still a lot of opportunity to gain that back, especially under these big brake zones.
Well, Lonnie, take a look at the gap that we have between your lead pack and the leader of the club. It's already up to 3 seconds as you see John Song and Stout coming off of the King. I mean, really knowing these two, Lonnie, is this a surprise that we're seeing the 7 and the 43 jump out to such a commanding lead?
No, Jeremy, it's not a surprise at all, but what I will say that is so cool is how much Carl Stout is challenging Jenson, because Jenson really didn't have a whole lot of that, or hasn't in the past in these iRacing events. And so it's cool to see them run up there, and they can get in a groove together where they're just drafting and they're kind of leaving the field that's battling really hard behind them. And if they don't fight that much, they can build a really big gap, which then gives them the opportunity to race hard at the end of the race, not having to worry about those behind them.
And that brings up a good point too, Ashley, because this is going to be a track where, Sprint Challenge is going to be here in August, as well as Porsche Carrera Cup. So this is basically training ground for the both of them.
No, for sure. I mean, it's cool to see Stout right behind Janson there because, I mean, I'm sure they do want to build a gap. However, I could tell they are still racing pretty hard. I saw Janson drop a wheel here and there. Oh, here comes Stout for a pass. Is he going to make it work? Oh, that was nice by Janson to give some racing room there. Doesn't quite make it stick, but man, I really feel like these guys are still going to race as hard as they can because why not, right? Like you said, it is good training. So if you just stay in line, you might not be learning quite as much as if you could making a few risky passes here and there.
Take a look at the replay here as it looks like Sean Flatman with an issue going into turn number 5 and just dives in a little deep. Oh, no, actually gets cut off there. Not sure who that was in the other car, but Flatman down 4 spots from his grid spots so far. That's an interesting little move there. Okay, so it sounds like it was Arba who was involved with that.
Yeah, he probably didn't really see the incident coming and just kind of got turned down on, unfortunately. But, that's what happens if you leave a little bit of gap in between you and the other car coming into a corner. You want to be as tight to each other as possible so you know exactly where one another is.
Already a couple of retirements in this race. Castillo, Soros, and Kana. So shame to see Castillo not be able to get up there and battle with his adversary of Holman. But you're watching Matt DeRocco in 13th place. Look at the bottom part of your screen. Also, you see his onboard camera. And doing a lot more drivers are starting to use virtual reality, which I think is interesting. And one of the series that I do that sometimes I actually have problems with virtual reality. So you don't have, it's great to see everything in full view. But Ashley, when that goes wrong, it's basically game over as DeRocco waving at the camera.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, it does really put you a lot more immersively in the experience of being in the race car. Oh, these two front runners are still fighting pretty hard. But if you can run virtual reality, I do think that it is better. I've always struggled with it. I like having a screen. I have a screen that curves, but oh, it's really tight up here. I feel like Stout was probably back there learning as much as he could from Janson and trying to figure out where his weaknesses are. And you could see Janson starting to crack under pressure, driving a bit defensive into the brake zones. Man, these two are going to give us a show.
Janson doesn't crack under pressure. How dare you say those lies about him? But Ashley, and that's something I want to mention too, because you and I, we're both glasses wearers, so virtual reality, you think that it's tough for people, but now there are these companies that are coming out with lenses that you just pop right in your VR headset.
Oh, really? I will have to look into that then. Although I'd have to try it with my contacts as well. That's something I would love to try.
Oh, I didn't think of that either. And sorry, Josh. I didn't mean to spend some more money. I don't know what that's like. You're on board with your team leader, Ted Burns, as he is trying to chase down Isabel. He's got about 1.2 seconds behind Holman. And Loni, in spite of them being out of class, Burns and Holman know each other very well on the track because they were always embroiled in battles. So it's going to be a matter of time before Joseph catches up to Ted.
The nice thing about competing against people that you're very familiar with is oftentimes you kind of know whether or not you can trust them. And it's a really good feeling to have to go side by side with somebody you're comfortable to do that with.
You mentioned that Janson using a defensive line into turn number 1, trying to hold off Stout, and Stout's going to dive to the inside. I don't think this is going to be a pass. Let's hang here because we've seen Carl try and make some sort of move going into turn 5. Little sketchy for a pro who's been racing cars for 20, 25 years. But as somebody who's newer to the Porsche 992.2, it's not as sketchy as you see Carr trying to look to the outside of DePaula going into turn number 5. Not going to make anything happen there, but Stout not as close as he was last time by. He's starting to lose ground, and Ashley, I think that if Carl doesn't get his act together, he's going to lose Janson like the rest of the field normally does.
I don't know. He still is hanging on really tight to the bumper, and I'm kind of interested to know if these cars draft really well also, because I have noticed that especially after these really long straights, the gap closed pretty quickly. So if that draft still works pretty strong, then that also can kind of help you stay pretty close, even if you make a tiny mistake somewhere.
McGovern falling back through the pack as he loses a position to Neto in the 9th spot. That's over already, and Flatman also in the battle. But we're watching this battle between Burns and Isabel not too far away. Is Holman in the 94? So Loni, if you're, Holman, you're licking your chops, but if you're Stout, you're trying to find a way around your teacher.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about this situation for Holman is kind of all about figuring out where he needs to be defensive and where he would lose time being defensive. So I think down the front straightaway, that's a great place. You can see Johnson doing that right now. He's being pretty defensive because it looks like Carl is taking a look on the outside of turn number 1. And it's harder to make the pass on the outside. So that's why he was on the inside going down the straightaway.
Yeah, super tricky to make that pass work there. It's just tough because now you're heading down into turn 5. He didn't get quite the run he wanted, but this straightaway also is very curvy, so it's easy to drive a more defensive line and still make it look legal as you're breaking down into turn 5. But yeah, some of these straightaways, like into turn 1, you have to make sure you're very clear about what line you're going to take, especially when it comes into your racing in real life and what is considered blocking versus being proactive and making these moves. Nice pass there. That looks like Ted Burns making the pass up into turn 6, so that was really well executed.
I would watch out, ladies, because if Ted gets any more racy, Loni, he's gonna want he's probably gonna want your seat here as Burns with a nice defensive move in 8.
You know what? Ted is really good at this. He is great at iRacing. And driving in general. I know he's on the simulator all the time perfecting his craft, and I honestly think it makes him a better engineer because he understands it better. So when we get to work with him at the races, he has a really good grasp of what's going on, and so it's fun to communicate with him.
For the virtual grid to real-world goals, PenFed is helping racers and fans move forward with purpose, and that's one driver who is moving forward with purpose. It's Ted Burns. Although Johnson and Stout, they're opening up a bigger gap. It's 3 seconds back to DePaula, who is your 3rd place overall, your club member leader. Look at the top of your screen. Those are your leaders and the classes that they are in. And one thing that's interesting as well is they are starting to close in on Jaden Freeman. We know that lap by lap, they've been trying to get around, and now they get around the number 22, who is one of the team members. And Stout, the more I look at Stout's moves, Ashley, I don't think it's as much as I'm going to pass you now as we're just past halfway. I think it's more or less I'm going to size you up to see what I can do later on in the race.
Yeah, for sure. There are definitely some areas he's just peeking a nose out a little too far back to actually make a pass work, but that is definitely a strategic way to go about it, just to show, hey, I'm still back here, you haven't lost me yet. And it certainly can put the pressure on, and really, if Aaron makes one little mistake, Stout is there and ready to pounce.
Aaron is absolutely putting on a masterclass of how to drive defensively, and that being, the idea here is you want to get to the inside of the racetrack before the driver behind you makes a move. So you see Carl made that move to the inside, and Johnson was on the outside. Had he moved over first, then he made that defensive move, and you just can't move in reaction to the car behind you, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, or else you're going to see a visit from your friend and mine, the Stewarts. Of course, that's what he tried to explain to Fast Jack Baldwin. Hey, you know what? I was just defending, and then you try and listen to him say, no, you were blocking. We're not going to go down that road. Hey, real quick, Amit, let's take a look at the 94 of Joseph Holman, because our friend Jay Duarte Miller checking in as the Joe Chicken Club is around. He always has one of the most unique paint schemes. Joseph, Joe, where's your chicken paint scheme? Well, we'll ask him that later. But Holman in a good battle here with Colby Isabel, who sits right now. It's actually the battle, interestingly enough, Ashley, the bottom step of the podium for the club members.
Yeah, this is definitely some tight racing back here. And I mean, these cars have been going at it for a while between these guys. So, I mean, really anything can happen here. They have, Ted Burns ahead of them as well that could potentially add to the mix. If he starts to back up to them, it can always add just another factor into the race that these two guys have going on. So, if I was Isabel, I might be sweating a little bit, making sure that nothing out of my control happens here.
Man, Isabel has had a great run, though. Just a minute ago, he was up 4 positions, which is the biggest mover of the race, except for I'm now just seeing Dominic of the 29 car is up 4 positions from where he started. So those are 2 drivers that are working really hard and making a lot of passes. So they're 2 drivers that I would have my eyes on.
And let's talk about that, because really, you would think 4 positions, that's not much, but in a spec series, Loni, that's absolutely fantastic when you could say you're up 4 positions from your grid in a spec car with lots of great talent.
Absolutely. Racing series like this one and like Porsche Carrera Cup, it's all about the driving. It's how you find every little inch on the racetrack, how you find every 10th of a second. It all matters because it's just the driver and the car. And that's what makes making up 4 positions really impressive, because you have to position your car just right to make the most ideal moves possible.
And I want to touch on that because I keep thinking back, and Ashley, you probably know where I'm going with this. Your first win in the 992.2 class a couple of years ago at COTA, it was a very stout field, and you literally had to fight for every position to get on that top step of the podium in that first race.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of cool to see how similar it is on iRacing as well. You could see Carr and DePaula still going at it, and same thing with our top 2 runners. I mean, ultimately, when you're driving such similar cars and you're really the same pace, you have to start playing a little bit of a chess game and have your elbows out a little bit in a smart way. But you have to be smart and you have to be assertive as well.
Let's see what Stout has for John Song. For the first time, he had his name at the top of the leaderboard, but John Song shutting the front door on him in turn 5, Loni. So far, so good. Stout finally picking through and finding those, I hate to say it with Aaron, but weaknesses.
Yeah, but again, you're just watching Aaron Johnson put on a masterclass of defense. You saw he ran down the inside of the racetrack into turn 5, forcing Stout to go on the outside. And honestly, any pass you try to make from the outside, it's just not going to be quite as easy than making a pass on the inside. So absolute masterclass from Aaron Johnson on the defense.
Speaking of masterclass, you're seeing Holman trying that higher line through the carousel, which, Ashley, as we all know, is easier said than done. But at the same time, the driver who we were told is running the stock 992.2 livery, because we weren't able to get the chicken livery car, which was a fan favorite throughout the winter series. It seems like that actually worked for him.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like iRacing, you can find some little quirks here and there to drive a slightly different line and make it work. I mean, we're also seeing it in turn 5 where a lot of drivers are actually driving outside of the racetrack completely and making it work. So yeah, I mean, maybe that line is gripping up a little bit as well, because iRacing actually does rubber up like an actual racetrack does. So if everyone's driving that line, then maybe that is what's grippiest and what's working.
You know, Jeremy, I love this inside shot because you can see how close you need to be to the other driver to make that pass happen. This driver here did a really good job of staying nice and close to the 23 car of Tyler Carr. I guess that was Nicholas DePaula. They both did a Fantastic job there. Again, the closer you can be to each other when making a pass, the easier it is for both cars to coexist in the corner.
How those two didn't touch, I don't know. As Stout looks to the inside once again. They're side by side like this is a high-speed pace lap as they work their way coming into turn 7. Stout just cannot get around John Song. John Song really putting the pressure on him for the defense through turn number 8, and he's going to open up a bigger gap. But I want to talk about DePaula and Carr again, because Loni, you made a good point. These two are very close to one another, and they're not even, like John Song and Stout, they're not even touching.
Absolutely. And again, that's why I love this Kellymoss, the club racing, because I see a lot of respect out of all of these drivers towards one another. I think it's because a lot of these drivers know each other, and they want to go race hard, but they want to race clean. And it's a huge testament to them, because in iRacing, that's not always the case, because there's not as many consequences in iRacing as there is in real life. You don't always get this respectful of racing. So I am absolutely loving it. I need my popcorn, because this is some good racing right here.
Oh, it really is. And this is something that I wish we had in the Winter Series. I mean, we had small fields, but we had a lot of great racing. And Ashley, if we can show that this is going to be, and Stout, I think, pulled out at the right time. We'll get back to that point, as it looks like he's going to get the nose up front. John Song might be having to give up his position. He's not going through turn number 1, puts his foot into it once again. They're side by side through turn 3, and Stout is just pinching him down into turn number 3, and coming out once again, it's Stout, and he's gonna get out in front. Fantastic pass right there.
Holy cow, that was really, really impressive. I don't think Johnson's going to make it easy on him, though. You can see him, he's coming right back up alongside him. These two drivers, I mean, both of them are so respectful, racing so hard. That should have been contact right there, and I don't know how it wasn't. But man, these two are doing a fantastic job racing so hard against each other.
Less than 6 minutes to go in this race, and you see Burns trying to hold station ahead of Isabel and Holman. That's for 5th place overall. And of course, if there's anybody I feel sorry for, it's that 992 class in Porsche Sprint Challenge when they show up here in August, because Stout is learning a lot from the master to try and stay up front. And Loni, if this holds the way it does for the first time, we'll have somebody on the top step that's not named John Song that's in the field.
That would be, I mean, both drivers would absolutely deserve a win. So, however, oh my gosh, we saw Aaron Johnson go off into the grass a little bit. That just is a testament to how hard both of these drivers are pushing. They are using every inch of the racetrack and then some.
Just both touching that little gravel there on the gator curbing, coming off of turn number 12, setting up for the Billy Mitchell bend and into turn number 14. For the first time this race, it'll be Carl Stout as your leader when he comes across the line officially and tries, interesting enough, tries to do the snake method. Ashley, we know it works in the open wheels, but how much does the snake method work in the sports cars?
As you can see, not much at all. Aaron still definitely just caught it. I think it's just more of a game to try to break the draft, but it really doesn't work a whole lot. I think, man, Stout just really has to focus forward here. He made a tiny mistake in that last corner, a little wide of the apex. That's what allowed Johnson to catch back up, and you can see he's still right there, still trying to make this pass work. So let's see what happens here in turn 5.
I think Ashley brings up
Go ahead.
Oh, I think Ashley brings up a great point of focusing forward, because it's so easy to get out in front and make mistakes. The key for Carl is going to be just looking ahead, staying calm and not panicking, because Aaron is so close to him, and the less he can focus on his mirrors and the more he can focus forward, the better he's going to be able to defend.
A little bit of a jump there coming off the rubble strips at turn 7. By the way, Carl Stout, fastest lap of the race, 2:05.240. So it just goes to show you how much these two drivers are pushing. It's going to be interesting to see how Carl handle this lap traffic. Freeman with a solid black flag will have to come in and serve that sooner rather than later. And believe that was a Freeman with it off there at the exit of the carousel. We're going to be about 2 laps to go, and each you can answer this question. We'll start with Ashley. If you're in the lead, where do you want to be when you're coming off of turn number 14? Do you want to be the leader, or do you want to be in second?
I think ultimately you still want to be the leader. I don't think the draft is strong enough to really fully get beside someone. As long as you keep driving the way Carl is, although he's definitely still staring in his mirrors, you can see it's really not going to be enough for Johnson to get alongside him. So as long as he, like Loni was saying, focuses forward, focuses on his own car, he's mistake-free. If you're in the lead, you can make it work, I think.
I think you can make it work as well. I would pick the lead over second place going into the final corner as well. I think the key there is just to make sure you get that last corner better than you ever have before, and then they can't get a run, and then staying to the inside of the racetrack, making them go around and work for it is really important.
Once again, Stout has the point coming into turn number 5. Johnson tries to go a little wide. You saw Holman and Burns go for position off of one another. Burns has a good cushion between he and Carl Lemkool for the lead in the team class. As you see DePaula and Carr battling for all the marbles in the club class. And before we forget, there's that the stakes are pretty high for these classes. The prizes, it's a $500 prize for each class winner, $250 for second, and $100 for third. Kellymoss Pro drivers will get a $100 gift certificate and $500 account credit for P1, $250 for P2, and $150 for P3. So, Ashley, that's a lot of prizes up for grabs for the pro drivers.
Yeah, I just think that's so amazing that PenFed stepped up and became involved in this incredible race today to help these drivers out and give us a great show. I mean, these drivers are fighting for some good money, so that's only going to make a race even harder.
And Loni, you were just at PenFed headquarters today as well, I think I saw on social media.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been amazing to be able to work with PenFed. What an incredible company with incredible values. And I'm lucky enough where I myself am a PenFed customer now. So they're helping me reach my financial goals faster. And it's just really cool to see more people learning about what PenFed can do for your financial stability.
White flag is out, 1 lap to go. You saw Johnson try and close in on Stout coming through turn number 1. It's going to be a race to the finish for the lead here in pro as well as in the club member. Lemkool's going to have to dig deep to see if he can gain 5 seconds. It's not impossible, to say the least. It's going to have to take a couple mistakes from Ted Burns, which we all know is easier said than done, as Johnson loses a little bit of time coming off of turn number 3, but closes in on that draft on Stout. Stout is really taking that defensive line. You saw a couple of wheels kicked off from Johnson, drivers left going into turn 5. No harm, no foul, as they're working their way around. Carr is your new leader here in the club class. You see them back there coming around turn number 5. Battle for the lead still heats up as DePaula gets back into that point. He's going to gain about a half a second so far as they work their way through turn number 6 for the final time at speed. Right now, your closest battle is for the pro class. Let's see the replay, though, real quick, as to what happened there with Tyler Carr as he dives to the inside. That's trying to see one of those turn 5 situations where Carr decides to think better of it and thought DePaul is probably going to head into the gravel. Either way, your leaders making their way through the kink for the final time. And once again, Johnson kicks some dust, kicks some dirt out of there off the exit of the kink. Was that too little too late for Johnson? Got a couple of opportunities. He doesn't get a here in one of them, but he's got a great opportunity to draft off of his student and try and make a pass down the front straightaway. We'll stay on board here with Johnson for just a little bit. You see how close that he is to the grass that Stout is kicking up, and this could be the opportunity that John Song wants, but Stout, past couple laps, has employed, and that's going to be an off for John Song, and it's going to be game over for the previous championship leader of the pro class. Checkered flag is out. Carl Stout is your winner. Aaron Johnson finishes off in second. Let's see who finishes third overall will be your club member winner across the line. It's Nicholas DePaula in the number 37. First time out and across the line. Ted Burns is your team winner.
What a great race at the front of the pack there. I think Stout might have learned a few more things from Janson in that race on how to drive defensive as a leader. So really great driving by both of those drivers, and DePaula and Carr as well. That was a fantastic battle between those two guys too. So really clean, strong racing.
That was absolutely a blast to watch. And I think the cool thing was we saw so much good racing throughout the entire field. While the battle at the front was pretty phenomenal, we saw that throughout every single driver here today. So that's the kind of racing that brings everybody in to watch, makes everybody want to join. I'll say I was certainly jealous watching.
We gotta get you two back out there. I know that Loni, you joined us for at least one winter race. Ashley, gotta get you guys. You gotta get both of you out there. I think you might be able to give Aaron a run for his money, but we all know that the beast that is Aaron Johnson, as Hillstead takes the checkered flag. All 17 cars running have finished this race. Let's take a look at our finishing order. What a great finish by Carl Stout. Was able to get up front and stay up front in his number 43. He is your winner overall and in the pro class, followed by Aaron Johnson in second place. Nicholas DePaula, your winner in the club class. He wins over Tyler Carr. That was a good race there near the end as well, with Cody Isabel rounding out your podium there in club. Then Joseph Holman finishes off in sixth. Ted Burns, Carl Lemke will be 1 and 2 on the team podium. Araba McCullough Neto and Blake McGovern round out your top 10. By the way, McGovern will finish third in the pro category. Dominic Sicoli, Joshua Draper, we still both of those drivers up 4 positions, so great showing from them. They finish off 11th and 12th. Jacob Harder rounds out your podium in the team category. That's Matt Duraco, Pavan Reddy, Jaden Freeman, and Kelly Hillstad. Out of the race, Sean Flatman, Anthony Castillo, Joao Mario Soares, and Vishal Enika. I don't think Vishal took the start, but either way, fantastic to see these great finishes here. Well, joining us in the commentary box as I look at our list, we see the great Tom Dyer joining us. Tom, I'm surprised you weren't out there joining us this race. That was some fantastic racing. I think his mic is working, but either way, Ashley, Loni, we saw some great finishes here. Great racing all throughout the field. And once again proves that Road America just stands the test of time.
Yeah, that was incredible racing and cool to see those drivers again. Both of the class leaders there. I mean, so tight, so many class position changes and racing really clean. I mean, there were so many times where I definitely thought there would be contact and there wasn't. So that was just a lot of talent and a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree. Ashley, you said exactly what I was thinking. The fact that no drivers made contact in that race was pretty incredible. That is, again, just a testament to how talented all of these drivers are and how good their crew is. And I know a lot of them actually are on with spotters in their ears. So the iRacing has that software, and so they get to know a lot of really good information. And you can see it pays off to have those spotters.
Let's bring in our winner for today, Carl Stout. Of course, your performance earned the podium, and PenFed is proud to support the drive behind that, as Carl took the lead there in just a little bit later on in the race. And I meant we're going to have you bring in Carl to our little booth here, as he is your winner in the pro and the overall standings. All right, so we'll see if we can get Carl in there as well. But working through some technical difficulties, the first time doing this on as a little special event. Ashley, it's been one of those races where we didn't have a big group of racers to racing together, I should say, but it was just little clumps here and there, and that's something that we see here at Road America.
Yeah, I actually feel like that's pretty common for this track. And if you have a couple cars starting to break away and then a battle going on behind, that's what slowly starts to create these gaps between the races. And it looked like between each clump, they were each racing hard in their own ways. So that made total sense why it happened as it did. But it was pretty cool to see. I mean, like we had Ted Burns battling with P4 or P3 and P4 in the club class. So that was definitely cool to see. I mean, the class mixtures and yeah, the front two runners definitely gave us a good show. That's for sure.
And Carl Stout joins us in the booth now. Carl, I've got to say, it seemed like early on that you were trying to size up Aaron there, and you're finally able to get around. Was it a case of finding where your coach's weaknesses were, or was it just trying to dig and see what sticks?
Yeah, I mean, definitely in the beginning of the race, I think Aaron had more pace, so I was trying to just keep the tires under me because that's a big thing on this tire model. So just keep the pressure, the temps down and the pressures down. And then I felt like when I saw Aaron kind of have a few moments, I was able to try and go for a move. And yeah, I mean, obviously pretty cool having going around the outside and 1 and 2, not a move that I'd expect to be doing, but just kind of filling the gap to, try and go for something.
I'm gonna throw you to the wolves, to your teammates, Ashley and Loni, who, by the way, had a lot of great things to say about you. So, ladies, go ahead and talk to our winner here.
Yeah, great job there, Carl. The racing you had there against Aaron was pretty intense. And I mean, how when you're making these passes around the outside and he was consistently driving pretty defensively, what was going through your mind as you were getting these big runs, but you just couldn't quite make it stick towards the beginning there?
Yes, I was just trying to size him up for a move, like try and force him in the mistake. Like I'd try to go for like a fake in the turn 4, I think, or turn 3, just like try and get like a reaction out of him and make him run wide. So also have him get maybe to the instant limit and get a penalty with the off track. So yeah.
So great job. That was a fantastic race to watch. I'm just wondering what was going through your mind in the last lap. Were you more worried about Aaron behind you or focused forward?
I messed up my run coming out of turn 2, so I was kind of looking at my mirrors the whole way around because I honestly thought it was going to get me because he had more pace the whole race, I think. So yeah, just trying to keep him behind me. And then once we got sort of into the carousel, I was like I kind of relaxed a little bit because I know there's not really going to be any more overtaking opportunities with the kink not being flat. So the aero wash is quite a big thing there. So.
Well, Carl, I've got to say this. From all the broadcasts that we've done with Aaron on the Kellymoss channel, he has made it a point to say, I've made it this close to being black flagged. I made it that close to being black flagged. So well done. Congratulations. We'll see you down the line.
Thank you.
That was your winner in the pro class and overall. Let's bring in our club winner, Nicholas DePaula, who really has done quite well so far. It was a great race that he had. And see if we can bring him into the room. While we're waiting, Ashley, that was a great race that Nick had here throughout the going.
Yeah, I mean, quite similar to our two front runners in pro. I mean, him and Carr were going at it pretty hard, and DePaula had some really great defensive moves there going into some of these corners, especially down into turn 5. Doing a great job just maintaining that lead, even though Carr was putting on the pressure. So I'm excited to talk to him.
He's in the room now. Nick, congratulations for first time racing here at Kellymoss. You did quite well for yourself. Well done.
Hello, guys. Good night. It was a really good race. Tyler and me, we had a good fight, and it was so clean. And I tried to keep my position, and yeah, it works. But I didn't expect this result, so I'm very happy.
That's great to hear. And we're going to hand you off real quick to Ashley and Loni, two pros who I'm sure have plenty of questions for you and your wonderful race.
Yeah, great job out there. Like I was saying, you were definitely racing Carr pretty hard and doing a great job of holding him off. I mean, he certainly wasn't making it easy for you. Did you feel like he could have potentially gotten by you in a few spots, or did you feel pretty confident ahead of him?
I feel pretty confident, but I just defended like was my life in the game. So it was really insane. I gave my best. I did my best. So yeah, I'm very happy with the result.
Nicholas, that was really fun to watch. A phenomenal job and congratulations to you. I'm curious, what brought you here today? How did you find out about this event?
In a group with my friend, and he sent me the Instagram of the Kellymoss, and I saw it and I said, why not to try? And it was my first time racing with the Porsche Cup, so it was a challenge for me, a real challenge. So yeah, that's it.
Well, it was
It was really fun.
it was fantastic to have you, and I hope you consider joining again in the future.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much, guys.
Nicholas Apollo, your winner in the club class. First time out, by the way. If you're looking to race with Kellymoss, definitely log on to the Kellymoss website and search on how you can become a club member as well. Of course, if you really, really want to get the inside track, well, guess what? You can join our next driver here. He's the team winner. It seems like we've talked to him more times than not when it comes to the broadcast as Ted Burns. And like I said, I'm gonna say one question. I'm gonna let you ladies have at it to kind of figure out the tips of the trade for our winner here in the team class. But it's no surprise that we see Ted at the top of that standings. The number 81 actually finished fifth overall. He was in the group with the rest of the pack. And Ted, well, this seems like old hat for the both of us. You know, once again, you're at the top of the team standings. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's talk about that race because, you know, at one point you had nobody between you and Carl, but you're able to put a couple of club cars ahead of them. What did it take to do that?
It was just seeing where I had a little bit of an advantage on him. I could tell Colby wasn't so great on the brakes into some of the corners, and he was having to really overslow the car. He was, blowing turn 5 quite a bit. So I just kind of waited my time, waited till I had a little bit of a run out of turn 3. It was close, and was able to kind of pop to the inside, and I think a little bit of surprised him. So once I got him behind me, it wasn't too hard to keep him back there for a bit. He came on pretty strong late in the race, and yeah, my car was fading pretty hard. It looked like I picked up some front bumper damage on turn 3 on lap 1, and I definitely felt that the car was understeering quite bad throughout the race, and they were just closing up on me on the straights. I was like, what's going on here? They're just driving past me. So it was a tough race, but yeah, it was fun.
All right, and hand you off to your drivers. Ashley, Loni, don't go easy on them.
No, Ted, nice job out there. That start was so wild. Can you explain the first couple of laps to us and how your experience was through all of that chaos?
Yeah, it was quite hectic. I had a really good starting position where I could see Aaron's car, so I could tell the second he jumped, and so I got a really good start off the line. Helped me pick up a couple spots, but then someone up in front of me checked up into turn three. I don't know if that was Nicholas or Tyler. They like parked it at the apex, and it kind of bunched everyone up. So I picked up some damage there, hurt my run out, and I just got freight trained after that. So it was everyone was being super aggressive at the starts. It was elbows out, trying to keep people behind, but also trying to attack up front. So it was you're definitely playing, trying to drive, in front and behind. It was quite a bit to manage there, but we managed to find some pace on the cold tires relative to everyone else, get a couple spots up, and then it kind of leveled out and everyone spaced out a bit, and so it was nice to settle into a rhythm then after that.
Yeah, it kind of gave me some Carrera Cup vibes there at the start, but it was cool to see it. No one really got too much damage. It's definitely unfortunate to hear that the damage affected the handling of your car, but still, I mean, really impressive with your finishing position there.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely just like a Carrera Cup race out there. Everyone was, everyone knew it'd be difficult to pass. I think it's a bit easier to pass in these than it is in real life. But if you can make up spots on the start, that's huge. And so yeah, it was quite hectic. I think just like the real race out there, and it was intense. So definitely got the heart rate going, and it was hard to try and calm back down, settle into a groove after that. But yeah, it was nice having everyone play pretty nice out there, but it was still elbows out, so it was an awesome show and fun to be a part of.
Had an awesome job. That was really incredible to watch, and you were quick as always. Which brings me to my curiosity. What do you do to prepare for these events?
um, I don't honestly do that much. I've put in a lot of time into iRacing in the past, and in data analysis, making sure that my sim is set up so that it reflects all of my inputs exactly. So like when I feel like I'm pushing 5 bar brake pressure, that's reflected in the sim, and getting those kind of just the hardware set up so it reflects exactly what I feel like I'm inputting is huge for just having that car control. I've put in a lot of time in iRacing in various cars and tracks and stuff, so I kind of know how the gist of that goes. But as far as preparing for this race, I've been quite busy, and this is actually I think the second time I've driven this car. I think I was on for like 40 minutes last night. The first time I drove the 992.2, so it was a bit of a learning curve, and trying to adapt and figure out how the best way to brake and get the car to turn with this baseline setup. So it was tricky, but just kind of went back and fell into all the habits developed from just hours of practice.
Well, it absolutely shows, and I know we're mid-season, so, finding time to get on iRacing isn't always easy for you with your busy racing schedule, but, again, really fun to watch. Congratulations on a great job.
Thank you very much.
Ted, congratulations, and we'll definitely see you down the line. Well, with that in mind, we're going to have to wrap up this show. It's been a lot of fun. And of course, ladies, you'll be on track in a couple weeks at Road Atlanta for the SRO weekend out there. Kind of weird to say that you're racing in Atlanta in June because it's going to be a little warm, but either way, it's going to be quite interesting for the both of you. Let's wrap up this race though, and give me your final thoughts, Ashley.
Yeah, of this race or of Road Atlanta?
Let's talk about this race first.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, that was so much fun to commentate. I definitely need to join one of these races. My simulator is down right now, but that definitely gave me the bug to want to join the fun because, like Lonnie kept pointing out, not only was it tight racing, but it was really clean and that's really cool to see because a lot of times you do put in a lot of effort to get into these races, you're practicing, you're setting your car up, and then to be crashed out right away is kind of a bummer. So it was really, really cool. And the start of the race looked like a ton of fun. And Ted describing it too. I mean, yeah, I'd love to get out there and join. Good job, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you, Ashley. I think that was fun to watch. I'm sure it was a blast to participate in. I was jealous the entire time of how close everybody was racing. So kudos to all the drivers. What great racing we saw tonight.
And of course, before we wrap up, let's talk a little bit about Preview Road Atlanta for the both of you as you get set to continue on the SRO GT4 Championship.
Yeah, we're so excited to get to Road Atlanta. It is definitely going to be pretty toasty, so it will be a challenge, I think, physically. But I love this track, and I know Lonnie's been there a bunch, and she's had some great results there too. So it's going to be a little bit different of a schedule. I don't think there's as much testing time this time around, so we're going to show up super prepared and getting right up to pace right away. And I know that Kellymoss and our crew, our engineer, everyone's been working really hard on the car in between race events. So I'm feeling really good about it. I'm super excited about it. How do you feel about it, Lonnie?
I absolutely can't wait. And what I like to say is the going gets tough, the tough get going. So physically, I honestly kind of enjoy when the heat happens because it's not easy. And I feel like Ashley and I are both pretty mentally strong. So I'm excited that it's going to be tough in the heat. And team has been working really hard. I know Ashley and I have been both working really hard behind the scenes to be able to hit the ground running when we get there. So tune in. It's SRO GT4 America on all things. GT World on YouTube. You can watch the race. So if anybody wants to tune in, would absolutely love to have all of you.
And of course, it's some absolutely fantastic racing up and down the grid. Well, thank you to Ashley Freiberg Loni Unser for joining me for this special race on the Kellymoss YouTube channel. I met back in the booth, making it sound oh so good as well. And of course, we have to thank everybody, Kellymoss, for making this happen. If you want to be a part of the action, follow Kellymoss on social media for more information on how you can become a club member and when we start racing again. My name is Jeremy Scott. Don't forget to keep it pointed forward, keep it between the ditches, and always keep it greasy side down. We'll see you next time on the Kellymoss YouTube channel. Take care, everybody.